Video game addiction and porn addiction are one of the same thing in my opinion, especially for younger men. Now, it might not be for older guys, maybe let's say, or people who are, later into their 40s, into their 50s, 30s or something, but specifically younger males, porn addiction and video game addiction are two of the same thing. And the reason for this, and the reason why I'm saying this, is because it usually compensates for something which they are in fear of, have anxiety or stress towards achieving in the real world. I think this is fundamental because the scale with any kind of, obviously addictions are a compensation for something which cannot be attained, or maybe an addiction for escapism, something of that kind, from the reality that they live. But a lot of the time for video game addiction, for example, or porn addiction, it's an escapism from the thing in which they suck at in real life. So, for example, video game addiction, what do you achieve when you play this video game? Or when you adopt yourself into a virtual reality where you can build a character that ticks every box of, competency, diligence, and ability. When you build this character, he's good at this, you rank up the score level on this character that you're playing to like level 300, you're some sort of beastmaster, conqueror of some sort of ancient land or whatever the fuck, Going and doing that thing is, you're obviously not overcoming or confronting the fears you have with the real world when you go and do that. So therefore, video game addiction occupies a place for a younger male where, instead of, actually conquering the world where there's going to be unknown situations in which you may have anxiety towards or fear towards or, things that are going to stress you out in the real world in relation to your real existing self, you can just turn the TV on, play video games, and you can conquer like lands which don't exist, but you can still get that gratification, that dopamine hit. And this is the thing that comes into place. It's the instant gratification of doing something where you're not actually escaping your comfort bubble. So you're existing in your comfort bubble, but you're still achieving these same dopamine hits of, getting certain rewards on video games and accomplishments. And the thing is, a lot of men, younger men, or masculinity itself, men as ourselves want a purpose and we want to drive towards a destination, an achievement. We want to achieve things. Video games offer that ability to achieve things. Obviously not in the real world, but they at least compensate for that by allowing you to achieve for something, or achieve something itself in a place that it doesn't exist, but in return you at least get that thing, that gratification, that accomplishment, that dopamine hit that will allow you to cope with the reality that you are existing in, but would rather just exist in this other world. Okay, so it's just enough dopamine to gratify you and say, you know what, my life isn't that bad, I can just continue playing video games and I'll at least be gratified to some extent. These are processes of methods of coping and compensation, because you're compensating by playing these video games, by watching porn, by doing these things. I think there's a book called Hooked, where pattern repetition, it's a book that's based on getting people, building business models or building systems where people get addicted by making small accomplishments, and then by making those small accomplishments, that individual doesn't have to actually face the real world where things that could reject you or things that could disappoint you may happen. Because, for example, you're not exactly going to be rejected or disappointed by the real world if you continue playing video games and watching porn, because, it's just a thing that's there and it's to invite you in, and it's not something that's going to say, oh, no, you're shit at this, or you need to do better at this, or you need to improve on this thing through practice or anything like that. This is why people get sucked into these things, and that's why they're two of the same thing. Porn addiction, video game addiction, I see them as very much the same. I would say for younger men it's much more worse now. You could have said that, well, when video games first came out, like in the arcades back in the 80s, it probably wasn't as detrimental to the male mind as a young adult, But for now, it's a lot worse because worse is not a word, is it? It's a lot worse now for younger men today because, for example, porn. Young kids can access porn before they even interact with other girls or women. So that is just extremely detrimental, I think. Beforehand, it wasn't like that. Video games are designed to be addictive, more so than ever before. They've been designed to be more and more addictive by giving you accomplishments and rewards at a faster pace. And you can access these things when you're young, and you can do all these different things, and you can have all these attachments, and you buy into these programs, into these within the games and all this type of stuff, and it rewards you for achieving nothing in reality. Now, I'm not saying everyone who plays video games is like, you can play video games as like a break from the real world, like saying like, I just need to chill out for a minute and play a game for like 30 minutes to just, escape from the real world of doing loads of hard work. For example, it can be a leisure activity. But for people, especially young guys who are extremely addicted to it and don't actually live a life themselves, they're obviously stuck in this bubble. And the thing is, the way to kind of combat this is obviously a mindset, but you need to perceive the real world as a video game as well. It is a video game. You can go out in the real world, you can practice on these things and these abilities that you want to accomplish and achieve in the same way that you do on a video game. So why are you playing the video game? You could actually do it in the real world. You can go and join a martial arts group, or you can develop, defense tactics and abilities, or fighting, abilities, or you can go to the gym, build a stronger frame, get more muscle, build more confidence within yourself. You can go out dating, develop your ability for communication skills. So develop your communication skills, fighting abilities, defense abilities, physical strength, communication skills, friendship groups, social, events. Go to social, be more social in the real world. Like, instead of just sitting in front of your laptop and having a headset on, playing these video games and talking to your friends online where you're like playing these video games and you're like, oh, let's conquer the dragon, let's slay the dragon and then get the gold, and then we can share the profits of like 200 jewels or something from the chest, whatever the fuck these guys are playing. You can actually apply these things that you want to do and apply it to the real world, and it's simply just a mindset change. But the reason why people don't do this, or the reason why people are not doing this, is because they haven't had the achievement in the real world to reaffirm the ability that they could keep doing this and developing themselves in the real world and be rewarded by it. But as soon as you do that, and as soon as you overcome an unknown situation, you actually achieve something, or you actually accomplish a situation that you didn't think could be accomplished, that is then a reward to you, to then where you can use that as a framework to realize the fact that, hang on, I can actually achieve things in the real world, and therefore that itself will help you go further and further out and achieve more things to help you become a better person. Hey guys, so just a quick update on My Rome Society. We have sold out on over 50% of the seats, so if you still want to get involved, book in a free consultation call with me down below. I'll run you down with what it is all about, or me or one of my colleagues will do so, and we can see if you are a perfect fit to the program. So I look forward to talking to you, and I'll see you on the inside.